And welcome back. This is your man Warrior. This is another patron roster review, and this is Mol Kanobe from Exiled on Tatooine. So Mol Kanobe has got a really rigid farming structure. He knows exactly what he's going for, and he's kind of just getting hung up on, the Mark IIIs and the Omegas and the Zetas, and so he's just basically trying to get there. He's been playing for a little less than a year. He is a whale, of course. You can see it in his roster when you start looking, and there's really not a lot I can say for those Mark IIIs and Omegas other than when those packs for like 1600 come out, because you're a whale, you should be buying them. Those packs for 1600, they're normally good for 3 or 4 days, and you can buy them for 1600 and they give you like 20 Mark IIIs and like 9 Omegas, and so those are gonna be your best friend. That's the only thing I can say for that. But you did want to know about kind of arena, which teams and or what direction on Zetas. You kind of wanted to know the next 5 Zetas. That was the most important thing. And then some of the Sith teams, even if it's just kind of a direction of one Sith team per phase that you could kind of focus on. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go over that. Now, the first thing, arena, you already have a really good team. You're kind of, got the ability to run that, CLS, Thrawn, R2D2, General Kenobi, and Han Solo. It's a really good counter team. The only thing is instead of Chirrut, I would run General Kenobi. I wouldn't run Chirrut in this situation because you don't have a tank. You're tankless, and you really, really, really need a tank to protect your team. So for arena, even though he's 6 stars, gear 11, I would have General Kenobi in there instead of your Chirrut. Now, the cool thing is about your development is you can run a CLS team to go against Emperor Palpatine teams. You've got the Rey Jedi training and BB-8 R2-D2 with General Kenobi, and then you could either throw in Old Ben or Scavenger Rey, and you would have a resistance team that you could run in arena, and that, kills many teams. It does really well against Emperor Palpatine. It does really well against CLS because of all the foresight. So you've kind of got a counter to that. And then also you've got Emperor Palpatine team right now that you're running with Darth Vader. And I would recommend Darth Vader, Darth Nihilus, Scion, and Thrawn. And that's because Thrawn is really maxed out. I mean, he's not really, he is maxed out on your account. And you've got Darth Scion. Now, I know you scored Darth Scion. You're just kind of starting now to work his mods. But there's going to be, this is the issue with your arena teams. You've got 3 options, right? You could run, a Rey Jedi training team, which is awesome. You could run a really overpowered counter team with CLS, or you could run Emperor Palpatine. They all kind of do really well, and they all kind of have a weakness and all have a strength, and it's kind of paper, rock, scissors. The good news is you have all 3 teams for arena. The bad news is your Zeta plan is dependent or hinges off of which direction you're ready to go. Now, I'm going to talk about the Zeta plans. There's 3 of them I have for you, and you're going to have to decide which one to go for. But I'm going to give you 3, and then you're going to decide whether you like which one you like the best. This is your game, so ultimately I'm here for suggestions. I'm just not going to be able to make this decision for you. Now, the first is that you have 3 viable arena teams already, and that you want to invest Zetas into something that will further your roster in PvP and PvE, and the only way to do that is to spend the next 5 developing another team. So this team is primed and ready to go. You've got Mother Talzin 7-star, you've got Asajj Ventress 7-star, Old Daka 7-star, Zombie, you've even got Spirit 7-star. This is a really, really great lineup, but you're missing a couple of things. That's Mother Talzin's unique, Asajj Ventress is unique, Old Daka's unique, and then either Asajj Ventress lead or Mother Talzin lead. Preferably, in my opinion, Asajj Ventress lead. Now, that would require you to go in with this at least 4 Zetas minimum, or 5 depending on how heavily invested you want to get. But this is your next 4 or 5. If you choose to go Nightsisters for another team in arena and the ability for PvE, and to give this team another breath of life when you're going through the Sith raid. Nightsisters can score really well in Phase 4 and Phase 3, but Phase 4 does really, really well. Now, you don't have to use any specific Nightsisters. You could use the old school Nightsisters before Mother Talzin and Spirit and Zombie came into play, or you could use the new Nightsisters like you have with Mother Talzin and Zombie. They do better with them, but just note that in Phase 4 of the Sith, this is what I'm recommending. So because I'm recommending this, and this is your least developed of the 4 teams we talked about already. This is where my first Zeta priority would be, is for you to jump all in on Nightsisters, forget about everything else, and just focus on developing your Nightsisters. Now, you may not like that, and so you may want a alternate plan, and that's what we're going to go over next. The alternate plan number 2 is developing the existing characters that are overpowered in the game that you already have. For example, you could finish off Commander Luke. There's 2 Zetas on him that you can finish. Both are worthwhile, and he's definitely a long-term top 10 character in the game. So there would be 2 for him. And of course, with Jedi Training Rey, there's another 2 on Virtuous Protector and Insight. So you could finish her off. Again, she is part of your Phase 1 Sith team that I'm going to recommend, which is Rey Jedi Training, BB-8, and then you'll either use R2-D2, or you've got a couple other characters you could use, but then also you'd want to use like Resistance Trooper and then like Scavenger Rey or whatnot. So because of that, I would highly recommend that you finish off Jedi Training Rey. And then the last one would be probably like BB-8. You've got his unique, but you could do his self-preservation, and or you could finish off R2-D2 and his combat analysis, which combat analysis is an amazing Zeta now, even more than ever because of the debuffing, especially in the Sith raid. So in relevance to the Sith raid, combat analysis is one of the singular best Zetas you can get, because every time your character crits, they cleanse themselves, and that will help you stay debuff clean. That's what you're looking for, is to stay cleansed from debuffs. So combat analysis is really, really important. So you could go all in on Nightsisters and do 4 or 5 Zetas over there, or you could finish your CLS, your R2-D2, your Jedi Training Rey, because we know those are 3 of the top 10 characters in the game and will be for a very long time. Now, the last Zeta plan is my favorite, and it's actually the one, if I was in your shoes, I would probably do, and that is go and make the team that you were talking about as far as Emperor Palpatine lead, and you said, should I switch to Emperor Palpatine in Arena and go away from this team? And I think it would be fun. I mean, you have a Jedi Training Rey team, you have the CLS team, but your Emperor Palpatine team's a little weak in comparison, but it doesn't have to be, because you have Emperor Palpatine, and you even put a Zeta on his leadership already, which tells me that you want this as bad as I want this for you. So Emperor Palpatine's done. You've got his Zeta. So now we got to look at the rest of the team. And if you're going to use these characters, which, by the way, you have a 7-star Gear 12 Scion, it makes no sense to invest all of this time, energy, and effort to not do Lord of Pain unique. So because of that, you're going to want to do this. Now, Darth Scion is a standalone. He does not have to be in a Sith team for him to be overpowered. He'll work anywhere, but he is going to be future meta. He will be in the meta report for at least 6 to 8 months, if not longer, especially with the reward for the Sith raid coming up that's Darth Traya. So because of that, this guy is a no-brainer. Obviously, basically his Sith brother, so to speak, Lord of Hunger, would also benefit from his unique, and really puts the cherry on top with an Emperor Palpatine-led team, having Lord of Hunger and Lord of Pain done. The synergies between Darth Nihilus and Darth Scion are amazing. The debuffing Darth Nihilus does with Lord of Hunger gives your team extra turn meter, so I would highly recommend doing that. And then the last would also be another unique on Darth Vader. Now, it benefits you in a couple of ways. One, Darth Vader can't have turn meter reduced and some other fun stuff with this unique No Escape, but this Zeta is going to help you in ships as well, and you're using his ship in Ships Arena. So there's 3 uniques: Darth Vader, Darth Scion, Darth Nihilus, and with those 3 Zetas, your Emperor Palpatine team is wham. Right now, up to the very beginning, it could be one of your best teams in your entire lineup. All you have to do is mod them in a way that makes sense. So we know that you would want Darth Vader the fastest. Then you would want Thrawn on this team, and you have Thrawn. And you would want him the second fastest if possible, with then Emperor Palpatine third fastest. And then you could have Darth Scion you can speed him up a little, but you're really more focused on, offense and protection and some potency, because he does need potency. So the Emperor Palpatine, Darth Vader, Darth Nihilus, Scion team, that's 3 Zetas I've recommended. And what's cool is if you go this route, you get another arena team, because you already have a couple good arena teams. This gives you another arena viable team. It also gives you some really good characters for the Sith raid, and it gives you a couple extra Zetas, because you said you wanted at least 5 Zeta ideas. And so, finishing CLS, JTR, and R2D2, that chews up easily 5. Nightsisters chew up 4 or 5. And this is 3, which is more efficient. And it would allow you, if you decided to do 2 more Zetas, to focus on another faction, which is First Order. And First Order is going to help you in a lot of ways for PvE and PvP when it comes to territory wars. And I would highly recommend Kylo Ren Unmasked and First Order Stormtrooper be put into your favorites, and you gear them up to gear 12. Those 2 characters are absolutely necessary. And then you have Barriss Offee already. You'll throw Barriss Offee in with this team with First Order TIE Pilot and the OG Kylo Ren. And there you go. You've got an amazing defensive squad, First Order. But it does require Kylo Ren's leadership ability Zeta, and First Order Stormtrooper is just that much better with his Zeta. So those 2 Zetas will really make this First Order team pop, and you already only really need 4 of these First Order for this First Order team I'm telling you about. Again, that's Kylo Ren Unmasked, First Order Stormtrooper, the OG Kylo Ren, and First Order TIE Pilot. Then you would want to put Barriss Offee with them, and that's an amazing Territory Wars defensive First Order team. So 2 Zetas here and 3 for the Sith, and now all of a sudden you've got Sith that are overpowered, First Order that are overpowered, and that's 2 more dark side teams for territory battles as well. So that's the one that I left for the end, because I think that's the direction, if it was me, I would go for. I would jump all in on your Sith and your First Order, and I would really make them pop. Now, you're going to have to do a ton of modding, because I noticed when I looked at all your mods, there's a bunch missing, there's a bunch of hodgepodge, and I know that's because you're focused more on the other characters you're currently using and not so much with these characters. But if you do this, you're going to have to go in. Now, you wanted to know about Sith teams. I've already mentioned a couple of Sith teams, but we're going to give you one for each phase so you have an idea. In my opinion, and again, this is just my humble opinion, the best phase 1 team is going to be Rey Jedi Training, BB-8, R2-D2, Scavenger Rey, and Resistance Trooper. And you have all of them in here. Now, you do have a 7-star Holdo, and you could put Holdo in place of Scavenger Rey, and that makes the team way more durable because of the amount of health and protection regeneration and extra foresight that you have. And with BB-8 and Rey Jedi Training giving out foresight as well, and R2-D2 giving out foresight when he gives stealth, there is a lot of synergy with foresight to prevent you from getting hit. And when you do, you'll regenerate health and protection. So if this is something that really excites you for phase 1, use Holdo, get her from gear 9 to gear 12, focus on her, and make sure that you do R2-D2's first unique that you don't have, so that way every time anyone crits, they're cleansing, because you're gonna be critting a lot with Jedi Training Rey. And so that's my professional recommendation: Jedi Training Rey, BB-8, R2-D2, and then use Holdo and Resistance Trooper. But get your Holdo up. You're going to be really blown away. She's actually, I'm not a big fan of Rose, but I really like Holdo. I think that character, as far as the composition, how she's built, she's phenomenal for this team that I'm suggesting. I think they knew about the Sith Raid when they built her, and that she was designed specifically for the Sith Raid, kind of like Visa Smar was. So keep that in mind. It's definitely one of those characters you definitely want to finish. And you wailed out on her, got her 7 stars. You might as well finish her off. The phase 2 team is actually Imperial Troopers, and I know you can use them in phase 3 with effectiveness, and phase 2 they work as well, but I've seen some of the highest scores coming out of phase 2, so I would tend to lean towards suggesting these guys go in phase 2. But again, you could play around, and if you get more luck with toppling, and doing the death mark and toppling and getting all that, I would, suggest maybe possibly phase 3, but phase 2 for me. And I would actually suggest not putting in Death Trooper. And so what you would use is General Veers, and then you would have Shore Trooper, Colonel Stark, Snow Trooper, and you would throw in Thrawn into this team. And Thrawn could either be a leader if you have his leadership Zeted, or you could just have him in as a helper on this team. But no Death Trooper. I would just do Imperial Troopers and try and get as much damage as you can possibly get with this team. General Veers doesn't have to be the lead again. You could put in Thrawn, but I highly recommend if you don't have Thrawn Zeta that you do General Veers as a lead. Thrawn, Shore Trooper, Colonel Stark, and Snow Trooper is your Phase 2 team. And then for Phase 3, I think for Phase 3, they're kind of calling it a Chex Mix team. I don't know. I think that was McMull that put out a video recently, but it's a good team. Commander Luke Skywalker, of course, is in there, which you have. Han Solo, of course, which you have. So Han Solo's in there, and Han Solo is really the mad damage dealer. And this is the team you're going to put Death Trooper in, because what you're going to do in Phase 3 is you're going to get Traya isolated. You're going to knock her down, and then you're going to death mark her, and then you're going to, stand alone with Han Solo, and he's going to go to town, getting, over 1.5 million pretty easily by himself. And so it's one of those things. You could use anyone, but Han Solo is one of the best to stand alone against Traya. And with Death Trooper and the Death Mark, if you time it right, you're going to do tons, and I mean tons of bonus damage. So with this kind of Chex Mix team, again, it's CLS, Han Solo, Death Trooper. This is the team I'd actually probably throw Chirrut in, so you get those hots or heal over times, and you've got a cleanser and tenacity up, things like that. So you're going to get that out of Chirrut. And then, of course, I'd probably throw in Ezra as another damage dealer and the ability to give turns away, because he's got that ability to, hand over a turn and call assists and things like that, calling assist with Watch and Learn, and the ability to dispel, stuff like that. So really, really great team. Like I said, Chex Mix is just meaning that you throw a hodgepodge of characters together. There is a dozen Chex Mix compositions that I've seen of people that are throwing them all together. So one of those things that you could do is you could even put in Visas Mar. There's just a lot of really great characters that you could put in here. And then for Phase 4, I would actually recommend Nightsisters. You could do OG Nightsisters or the new ones. You've got the new ones, so that's what I suggest you go for. But if you were to do a Zeta on R2-D2 for your Phase 1 team, then you could come over here for the next 4 Zetas and focus on Nightsisters and forget for now about Arena and the other teams like Scion and Crew, and you could focus on Nightsisters, and this would give you a really viable Phase 4 team. In fact, what you have here will do quite a bit in Phase 4. So that's the 4 teams that I would suggest for you. So Mol Kanobe, I know that I haven't given you the answers. I've given you ideas, and you're going to have to make those decisions. So I really hope you can figure out whether you want to finish your overpowered characters like CLS, R2, and JTR, or whether you want to go Nightsisters, and maybe do a R2-D2, or if you want to spend the next 5 Zetas making your Empire team and your First Order team overpowered and really expanding your dark side. That'll be up to you, but I'm really excited for the possibilities, and I know that the Sith raid is on your mind. So those 4 teams I gave for Phase 1 through 4 hopefully will get you kind of going and started. As always, I hope that this helped you. If you have any more questions, hit me up on Discord, and keep your gaming on. Warrior out.